We bring in Bakari Sellers, one of the attorneys for Andrew Brown's family. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sellers. I can only imagine how difficult today must have been for Mr. Brown's family and loved ones. How are they holding up?
Thank you for starting off with that question, because I think many people forget that Andrew Brown Jr. was a father. He was a grandson, a nephew, and so much more. I just spoke to both of his sons, Gerard and Khalil. And, they were heartbroken, disappointed, frustrated, devastated, angry, mad at a system that continues to perpetuate injustice and unsure where we go next. And so it was a good conversation, but they are just as frustrated as many of us are.
The prosecutor today said that Mr. Brown was driving recklessly as he fled from officers trying to execute 2 felony arrest warrants. Walk us through what you think an appropriate police response would have looked like under these circumstances.
Well, I think that what we saw in the clips that we were able to see from the video, I want to start, was an unjustified shooting. I think that at no point was Andrew Brown Jr. Using his vehicle as a weapon. No officers were injured. No officers were knocked down. In fact, at every point, he was moving his vehicle away from officers. I can clearly state what the policy is and how they violated it. At no point should you shoot into a moving vehicle, because you know that many times that would lend itself to being unfruitful. In this case, it lended itself to the death of Andrew Brown Jr. He was shot in the back of the head, something that the district attorney had no answer for. I think that most people will tell you that you should not fire at fleeing suspects. You should not fire into the homes of others. You should not fire into school zones. These are all things that these officers did, which make this shooting unjustified.
And looking at that body camera footage again, do you think that it's at all possible that Mr. Brown posed an immediate threat to those officers, as the prosecutor stated?
This is a brilliant question. The reason being is because even if we grant him that Andrew Brown posed a threat at one point, as soon as he was beyond those officers, he posed a threat no more. So if backing up, he posed a threat, although he didn't know officers were behind him. And if pulling forward, where the officer reached out and pressed up against Mr. Brown's car, even if you can say those were threatening moves, as soon as he drove away and got beyond the officers, he posed a threat no more. And contrary to what District Attorney Womble said, it literally makes no sense. It boggles the mind. You cannot shoot into a vehicle and then the vehicle no longer pose a threat and you continue to fire shots. As
you know, the FBI has an ongoing civil rights probe into this case. What kind of outcome are you expecting from that investigation?
We're hoping for justice, but I can tell you, sometimes in these civil rights cases, in particular in these federal investigations, that they are extremely thorough. We also know their standard is extremely high. And so while we're hopeful, I'm trying to set the expectations for the family. I'm very ecstatic to be working with Attorney General Garland in this matter, his deputies. But, we are hopeful, but we know that sometimes justice is slow. And although it's denied, we are not going to stop this fight in Elizabeth City.
And let's talk about the release of this footage. I was thinking that it was a matter of when the judge would decide to release it. You were telling me earlier that it's a matter of if he decides to release it.
Yes, and one of the things that we've identified in the state of North Carolina is that obstruction has been codified. We filed a petition today to not only ask for the full release of the video, but we've also asked for the full release of the SBI report. One of the unique things about this case is here we are representing the family of Andrew Brown, and we're standing on the side of what's right and what's just. We're standing on the side of transparency. We want the public to be able to see everything. We're not the ones that's hiding anything. In fact, that is the district attorney and your honor in this matter. And so we're going back before him. But again, the way this works in North Carolina is, imagine the fact that they close this case, they decline all the charges, and then no one will ever see the SBI report that it sits in a file cabinet in the office of the district attorney, and no one ever sees the video. That is the definition of injustice.
But what's the legal explanation for that? Why wouldn't the judge allow? Because maybe they think that it would bear out the district attorney's case, right? If, hey, here, see for yourselves a video.
The legal justification would be murky as best. It's one that I don't agree with. I mean, he may say now innocent parties would be prejudiced or put in danger by releasing the full video, meaning the officers that they view did not commit any or have any criminal culpability. I'm not sure what his justification will be, because I still am being somewhat cautious, because I have to go in front of this same judge and ask him to grant our motion that we just filed. And so I'm not hopeful, but we're going to keep up the fight.
Mr. Bakari Sellers, so appreciate your time coming on the show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.